David in Mexico, you're on with Jim and Matt, and it says here, all it says is nature is God. So tell us about that and how we can know that.
No, actually, I think I was misread. I have an answer for Jim that he made at the beginning.
Good.
About God lately. Cool. So, Jim, I don't know if you know these authors. I have a list. There's 6 or 7, depending if you wanted to put the last one. The one is at the beginning.
I don't care about the authors. Tell me what they said.
Tell me what they said. Metaphysics based on actual physics. So they have each, for example, Charles Peirce argued for the reality, not the existence of God. And he does it from
good. What was his argument?
Cognitive. What
was his argument?
Hypothesis of God can be scientifically valid if we look at it as a not incomprehensible object. So we use physics and we use to ground our metaphysics. Another author in the 20s is Whitehead, who has process theology, and a lot of it is like the metaphysics based on quantum mechanics. Another one is Rosenzweig, a Jewish theologist who wrote the Star of Redemption, and he thought of God as a traveling differential. Do you know these authors?
No, and you had one author who said something about quantum, so that sounds like, ooh, quantum stuff, let's add magic. God is an equation. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, I don't know how any of this. So basically, I don't know how any of this is an answer to what Jim said, because Jim asked essentially, what has theology done to teach us more about God or edify us more about the nature of the world? And what you're doing is citing someone like Whitehead, that's like process theism. Are you gonna let me finish? What Whitehead thinks about God doesn't mean we've learned anything about God until Whitehead has been proven correct. You can cite as many different people running around saying, "Oh, there's a way that we might be able to massage our metaphysics with physics here." None of this is demonstrable to tell us anything at all about God. It's speculative at best. When they get the Nobel Prize, when they demonstrate the truth of their propositions, when we've confirmed that there is a God for them to be talking about, then we will have perhaps learned something about a God. But just pointing to people who've written what their thoughts are about God and some way where they've massaged a definition to try to make it consistent with what we know about the world doesn't mean we've learned anything at all about God or about reality because of theism.
I agree. I think you're misunderstanding the propositions of Rosenzweig and Whitehead. They're not trying to prove God. That
doesn't answer my question. If you just said they don't try to prove God, then you're not answering my question at all.
I think your question was, what have we learned about God in lately? And I had some more current authors.
None of the authors that you're pointing to have taught us.
Yeah, I'm looking for things that you can prove. I'm looking for things that you can prove that has advanced our knowledge of God. Theories are not, or hypotheses are not proof. You need evidence, and if what Matt says is true, because he's apparently read some of the authors, they haven't offered any evidence. So if none of these authors have evidence.
I think it's a confusion on your part of what metaphysics is. And metaphysics...
So I'm looking for proof. I don't care about metaphysics. I'm looking for proof.
Well, I thought you were...
Yeah, we need evidence.
There's another one, Wolfgang Iser. If you want to write the authors, maybe...
I don't want to write any of them down. I don't even know why you're citing them. All of those would be fallacious appeals to authority. It doesn't matter who you're referencing. What matters is the evidence. And if you want to talk about what philosophers or scientists have speculated about a God, that isn't going to get anywhere near answering Jim's question, which is about us having learned something. And learn something that's true, not just a hypothesis, not just speculation. There's no theory of God.
Thinking that the only way to think about God is by trying to prove it. It's a show of ignorance on your part.
No, David. No. What's a show of ignorance is to suggest that people. Goodbye.
Yeah.
It's not a show of ignorance to think that God needs to be demonstrated. That's a show of sound epistemology, because until there's a demonstration of a God, all the navel gazing and hand waving and speculation about a God is absolutely fucking useless. You might as well be talking to us about Voldemort.